Chapter 12. Nora. Over the past 3 days, I've thought about committing suicide more often than I probably should. I never thought I'd actually go through with it, but lately, I find myself flirting with the idea. It's as if the thought of suicide replaced any thought of Ryan, so let's just say I actually think about suicide a lot. Since Ryan took his life, there's just no point. No point in romanticizing him, so instead, I romanticize my own death. No point in wishing he was here, so instead, I wish I was there, wherever there is. Wherever death takes us when it's our time to be taken. I exhale a cloud of smoke over the rooftop ledge. The early afternoon sun casts beams of light through a tapestry of fluffy clouds. The air carries a gentle breeze, just enough to create a soothing ambiance around my troubled mind. I ash a tip of my cigarette between remnants of my last 2 cigarettes. 3 cigarettes in half an hour. I reach into my purse and pull out the 4th. "Is this how you'll take me?" I whisper it through a cloud of smoke. Death doesn't answer. Death hasn't answered since it took Ryan from me. I lean against the ledge, my elbows resting along the concrete slab. So this is the price I pay for fame. My eyes land on the security guard standing halfway across the rooftop. Since my rise to fame, I've gotten used to being followed by security. But ever since the protests began, the security guards are starting to feel more like parole officers. It's as if they're not just here to protect me. They're here to make sure I don't do anything stupid. For example, jumping off this ledge. If I jumped, do you think they'd accuse you of pushing me? I ask, smiling cheek to cheek. The security guard remains straight-faced. I wonder what the narrative would be. I roll my eyes, looking out over the ledge. NORA FICTUS jumps off of Mendax Productions' rooftop, the show's creator now a victim to the same morbid curiosity that gave her everything she thought she wanted. I laugh under my breath. Having achieved everything I set out to achieve in such a short time makes dreams seem dangerously underwhelming. Money, fame, power, I have it all. I can buy whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. And here I am doing what I used to do during my lunch breaks with Ryan, but without Ryan. Would I give up fame for just one more lunch break with Ryan? Thinking back on those late night pillow talks, Nora Bennett doesn't sound as bad as I made it out to be. That thought alone makes me question whether or not my deal with death was a bad one. I wonder what the rich and famous do when they reach this point. Seek more money, fame, and power? Will it ever be enough? Will I ever be satisfied? I shiver at the thought that crosses my mind, the thought of seeking help. No, it's too late to seek help. I tried to seek help once after losing my dad. I joined one of those depressing support groups in the Bronx, and it only took me a few weeks to learn that nobody will ever care for your well-being as much as you will. I'd end it before I try to seek help again. The next studio tour is in 10 minutes. The voice blends with the breeze. I turn to see Samuel walking out onto the rooftop. I insisted on coming to get you myself. I wanted to check on you. I blow a strand of hair out of my face. I'm fantastic, I lie. Samuel leans against the ledge next to me. At the casual lift of his chin, the security guard leaves us alone. I knew he was more than your assistant. I look up at Samuel, mid-drag of my cigarette. Since our relationship began, I denied that Ryan was more than my assistant. I denied it to myself. I denied it to Ryan's face until he died. I've rerun each act of denial in my head since I witnessed death steal him from me in front of the entire world on a platform I created. What's the harm in one more act of denial? Ryan was just my assistant. I exhale, hoping if I say it enough, I'll one day believe it. Samuel laughs under his breath, his eyes flicking to mine. Regardless of what he was to you, he went over your head to speak to me. He takes a subtle step around me. He accused me of brainwashing you. I remember Ryan trying to tell me the same, from him noticing I was changing to the looks of disapproval he gave me when the show first aired. He just never saw the bigger picture. He never felt the impact we're making on the world. It was obvious he wasn't on board with what we were creating, but he wouldn't kill himself over it. I know Ryan was never suicidal, so why would he feed himself to the monster he wanted to rid the world of? Who cast Ryan to be on the show? I ask Samuel. The answer is in his eyes, but I want him to say it. I want him to admit that he signed off on it, that he planted the seed in Ryan's mind. Frustration builds in my tone. Samuel, why did he agree to be a contestant? He was given a pass. Given a pass? The pass. The golden guest pass. I exhale. But we didn't go live with the passes until after Ryan's episode. The past needed to be tested before we went live. I imagined the golden envelope left at Ryan's apartment door, the golden ticket inside reading, "Your call to a greater good has been answered." I envisioned the raised lettering of the description underneath the bolded line, the same description I signed off on just last week. This golden guest pass guarantees you a priority contestant spot on Greater Good's upcoming episode. Present this pass at Mendax's studio doors and you will be given special treatment prior to your courageous and selfless act. I imagine Ryan opening his apartment door to see the envelope shimmering between his feet. He reads Mendax inscribed over the smooth surface. Struck by curiosity, Ryan brings the envelope to his living room. He sits on the couch, setting the envelope on the coffee table. I can picture death slipping into Ryan's apartment in haunting silence as he opens it. Death transcends upon him, making the walls appear to close in as the gold hue shines across Ryan's face. He doesn't realize it, but his mind becomes a battleground, despair locked in a relentless struggle with hope. Death whispers softly, seducing Ryan with the illusion of relief from his emotional torment, replacing his light with its abyssal darkness. He could have had me. He did have me. But death convinced us otherwise. Not only did death convince Ryan that he would never have me, but death convinced Ryan that I belonged to death itself. The sad truth is that it's true. I sold my soul for fame and fortune. I gave my life to death in exchange for a shot at immortality, and it cost me a shot at love. I lowered my head upon realizing who the pass was signed by. My pen danced along the surface of the golden guest pass contract, allowing Mendax to put my signature at the bottom of every pass Mendax gifted to a candidate. On the bottom of the golden pass, written in black ink, were the words, "This pass has been personally issued to you by NORA FICTUS, creator and executive producer of Greater Good." My stomach tightens. You knew Ryan was vulnerable because he was losing me, and you had the pass sent to him in my name. Samuel's back hunches as he lowers himself to my height. His face is inches from mine as he states, "I'll say this one more time, Nora. You were called and you answered. There's no going back now, not with what now lives inside of you." A crooked smile spreads across his leathery face. "You will continue to get everything you have ever wanted and more from this world. The people who gathered in my office the other day, do you remember their names?" I remember the meeting I was late to after visiting Ryan. The darkness weaving in and around the crooked faces in that room. I remember meeting with them about the protester, I say, but I don't remember their names. "Exactly," Samuel states. "We are the most powerful people in this world, Nora, and we don't need recognition to possess the power we have. The idea for greater good wasn't yours, it was death's. You were called, you answered, and now you carry death with you. Death works through you the way it works through us, which means you can access the most powerful people and their resources. You will be tempted by people like Ryan who will try to pull you away from your calling. They will try to convince you that what you're doing is wrong, but I assure you that the more you lean into this, the more you'll understand the greater good in what you're doing." I lower my head until Samuel's wiry fingers lift my chin. "We have big plans for you," he says softly. "You will be happy to hear that we secured Madison Square Garden for the next episode of Greater Good. We'll be broadcasting live from an arena that holds over 20,000 people, with you hosting center stage." My heart nearly leaps from my chest. I'm hosting? All I've ever wanted was to be on screen. While I reached this level of fame from simply creating Greater Good, this is now my chance to make sure the entire world can put a face to my name. Samuel is right. I've worked too hard to let Greater Good slip through my fingertips. I've gained too much to consider Ryan a true loss. I made an irreversible deal with death, and now that death has held up its end, I need to hold up mine by continuing to do its bidding. Being Greater Good's creator, executive producer, and now host, I refuse to let anybody get in the way of Greater Good. Death called. I answered. Eyes, chin, shoulders. I walk up the bright hall, my posture straight as an arrow. My orange heels click against the black marble floors, my skin glowing after being pampered by the hair and makeup team for the past hour. It was my idea to show face on studio tours Mendax is now offering to the public, an idea I'm already starting to regret. The number of protesters on the streets is quickly rising, and the studio tours give us a chance to show that at the end of the day, we're just a harmless TV network. It's sad to see our haters not understanding that we're helping people. From giving suicidal people a platform to donating their cash prizes, we've only set out to help the community. Sure, there are two sides to every story, but one is often wrong. Soon, the protesters will see how wrong they are, and the tours will help them realize that. With the public now being exposed to how Greater Good is filmed and produced, it will shed a new light on the production. If the tours are done properly, we can convince the public that we're just like them. When I arrive in the control room, I'm greeted by two crew members standing stiffly. "The group was just escorted through the green room," one of them says. "They should be coming out of stage left any minute." "Wonderful," I reply. "Loosen up a bit. We want these people to see that we're human too." I look over the wall of screens showing different angles of the set, backstage, and audience sections. The movement on the screens depicts a small group being herded out of stage left like sheep. The guide escorts them up the staircase, dividing the audience section. As security opens the door, the group funnels in and marvels at the wall of screens behind me. "Remember to refrain from taking photos and videos," the tour guide reminds the group. "Good afternoon," I greet warmly. The group naturally forms a half circle around me, standing wide-eyed. Their intrigue fuels me, and I feel as if I'm hovering over them even though we're eye to eye. Despite my not needing an introduction, I give myself one anyway. I'm NORA FICTUS, the creator and executive producer of Greater Good. The group is speechless, which is a response I've gotten used to. With my palm raised toward the screens, I continue. We have eyes on every centimeter of the set, from backstage to center stage, up to the very last row of the audience. It's my job to make sure we're getting the best view at the best time, so that our viewers can witness the beauty displayed at— "No phones!" the tour guide shouts. I fold my lips between my teeth, blinking at the group. The handful of people in the front row smile and nod, lending me their full attention. I notice a few heads in the back looking in different directions. I clear my throat. As I was saying, these screens allow us to see everything happening in the studio all at once. I turn to the crew member manning the control panel. "Give us 3. A red light blinks on a screen labeled 3, which films a widescreen angle of center stage. "Now give us 11. A red light blinks on screen 11, which shows a close-up of the front row of the audience section. You see? And just like that, we're able to switch." "Sir!" the tour guide shouts. "No phones used inside of the building." I clench my fist. "Who the hell is using their phone?" "It's the man in the back," the tour guide hisses. People in the group turn their heads, looking for the man in the back. All eyes land on a man wearing prescription glasses. His hair curls over the sides of his face, which is freshly shaven despite the thick mustache growing along his upper lip. Upon realizing everyone is looking at him, he looks back over his shoulder. I roll my eyes. "It's you, sir. There's nobody behind you." The man shakes his head. "That, wasn't me. Can't be me." "What's that in your hand?" He looks down at the phone in his hand. Wait. Oh, you meant no phones at all. I'll just put it away. Confiscate it," I command security. The security guard grabs the man's shoulder and swipes the phone from his hand. The man reaches for the phone and his face is palmed by the guard before it's pinned against the wall. His glasses break into 2 pieces and fall to the floor. "Ow. Okay, yep, that hurts," the man mutters against the wall. "Has everyone in this group signed an NDA?" I whisper to the tour guide. "Yes, before the tour began. Before the tour ends, remind them that they signed away their ability to talk about what happened during the tour, this included." The tour guide nods and then addresses the group in a perky tone. "Right this way, everyone." "Except you," I state, pointing at the man still pinned against the wall. "You stay here." The group funnels out the door behind the tour guide. I flash the crew members an irritated expression, signaling them to leave with the group. They obey. The screens flicker, casting lights across the security guard and man's backs. My heels click against the concrete floor as I approach them. "You have a lot of nerve, breaking one of the main rules after getting the opportunity to meet me like this." With my hands behind my back, I puff out my chest. "Let him go." The man sucks in a few deep breaths as he's released from the wall. He jerks his torso, releasing a series of cracks in his back, then kneels over his broken glasses to try to fix them. "We'll be keeping the phone," I say. I lower myself to look at his face, but he looks away. "Look at me. What makes you think you can break the rules in my studio?" He slowly stands to his feet, the two of us now face to face. The left side of his face begins to swell under poorly applied makeup. As the screens along the wall flicker, I notice a jagged scar peeking through the makeup, coating the left side of his face. I know that scar. You, I whisper, stutter stepping backwards. You're him. You're the one who walked out of my show. You started the fucking protests. He places a gentle palm on his left cheek, then rubs the concealer that once covered his scar between his fingertips. Deafening silence overwhelms the two of us when his eyes meet mine. It's in this very moment that we both realize we've already met, a month ago, at a gas station. Wait, I know you, he whispers. I helped you break into your own car. My eyes widen. You're the lawyer, Joseph. With my palm pressed against my racing heart, I tilt my head. You're the one behind the protests? Joseph stands so still it becomes evident his hands are shaking. The shock within me threatens my confidence, but I force it down. With my jaw clenched, I step forward. You fucking nobody. You think you're brave. You think you can walk into the empire I'm building and get some kind of dirt on me with your little phone? I snarl, forcing my nail into his chest. You think you can make a difference? You're naive, like every other mindless idiot watching the shows we make. Joseph winces as if my words are literally getting through to him. I raise my voice with every word I speak into existence. We control the narrative. It's ours to do whatever the fuck we want with, and all you poor fucks will do is watch because that's all you're good for. Being manipulated. I promise you, Joseph, whatever you plan to say to talk people out of ending their pathetic lives won't work. We already control the crowd. Go home and mourn your dead wife because she's the only one who will have given you the time of day when you finally do yourself a favor and end your hopeless, mediocre life. Joseph's face is emotionless. I question whether or not he's even breathing until he suddenly sprints out the control room door. The security guard doesn't react, still stunned by my speech. Let him run, I exhale. We have his phone. He doesn't have shit on us. I stick out my palm as I sit in a nearby chair. The security guard hands me the phone, and I press the button to open the screen. It doesn't turn on. I press again. It doesn't turn on. I press again. It doesn't... It's dead? I whisper under my breath. My jaw drops. It was never alive in the first place. No. It's a decoy phone. I jump to my feet. It's not the phone he was using. It's a fake phone. He was recording everything with another... He has another phone. I slap the security guard's arm. Call everyone, I scream, shoving him out the door and down the stairs. Don't let Joseph out of this fucking building.